So we're waiting to get underway. So hopefully now I'm in, we can get ourselves going. We got another spectator. Should we get him in? Should we invite him to the party and have a second commentator? Should we? Nah, I won't do that. I'll stick by myself. I very much will stick by myself. While it can be slightly hard to actually keep the voice rolling for quite a while by yourself, it's better than having someone you've never actually ever seen before in the box. But I think that we are going to get underway very soon. As soon as they have sorted out the grid, I think the game is a little bit glitched tonight, and it's just not going up our way with the grids being muddled up and things like that. So yeah, one of those things, unfortunately, that do happen quite often. Not much, however, that we can do. I should probably actually change the name of both streams to Race and Quali. Or just change the name to the first one to the AI Grand Prix. Yeah, lobby definitely is. It's just, I mean, if it does continue, I think the best course of action would just be to be like just to red flag it and not restart, because it gets to a point where it's just a waste of time having to restart all the sessions. So yeah, I'm sure the admins will get to that discretion when if slash when that does need to be happening, and if slash when they feel that is appropriate. Yeah, 1 hour of quali. So it looks as though we are now finally getting ourselves underway. Appreciate it. Thank you very much for the kind words. And if you aren't happy, you are more than welcome to vacate the stream. Or, you know, you're more than welcome to come in and take my job if you feel like you would do a better job. If you feel that way, you're more than welcome to. I mean, if you're on PS4, I can invite you to the party right now. I'll head off and you can carry on with the stream if you feel that way. But no, I will stay firmly here if you feel that is appropriate. What happened with the lobby? Well, the lobby got a little bit glitched, and I think someone has come from TikTok, that Robot Rocks, who, well, I mean, you're saying grow up. You're probably about 7 years old with a name of Robot Rocks 11_F1. So yeah, unfortunately, some people within this community are going to spread toxic hate, and what you do with that, guys, is very important. You shouldn't ever let it get you down. Anyone who tries to criticize you for unnecessary things such as that are always the immature ones, especially ones with names such as Robot Rocks Formula 1. So I think if anyone is going to grow up, it's going to be him when he finally gets a stern realization that, well, maybe he. I mean, I can see where he's coming from. I mean, it's pretend race cars. I really should grow up. Yeah, it's my fault. Absolutely shameful from myself. But yeah, no. Anyone watching this, do not ever let anyone tell you otherwise, and try and put you down for anything you ever find yourself to be enjoying doing or want to pursue. They're always the ones that are going to be struggling behind, or those who won't seek help when they ever need it in their careers. So never get yourself down with it, guys. But nonetheless, we've got a race ahead of us. We've got a formation lap ahead of 26 laps of the Azerbaijan, the Baku city circuit. The predicted pit stop strategy, medium to hard, or a double medium stint onto either the softs or the hards, one of the two. But Kiernan already disqualified from the session. He's gone for the soft compound tyres, and I think it's more of an even split now as we've restarted, and more people have opted for the soft tyres as opposed to the mediums. So Kiernan's going to be stuck on that grid for quite a while after contact with someone. I couldn't quite catch who, but those soft tyres, they're going to be a little bit quicker to warm up. They should be able to warm up quite quickly. It would be a lot more of a catastrophic thing if he was on the medium tyres. And because obviously the harder rubber they're going to take. He's retarded. That's out of order. But with those medium tyres, it's going to be very, very difficult to warm it up with the colder tyres. All that is a smack of the wall. You can just hear the Gregor's going around there with Delta disqualified from the session. Must have got caught up with it. So Gregor's spinning around, having to get himself going again. Having to do around about a 4-point turn to actually get himself rotated around. Still going to do it. Doesn't want to overcook the tyres though, so isn't going to go for a spin turn, which is probably effective, as King Eric is actually stuck on the grid and has been disqualified as well on those medium tyres. So whoever's leading the pack, I think it is Corey, is the 4th place man, has ended up leading the formation lap, which is crazy. Actually, no, he hasn't, because he's actually quite far down. He must have had a spin himself. Who's actually leading then? It's Taylor that's leading the way on the formation lap. On the soft tyres, getting them warmed up. Everyone trying to get those tyres warmed up with now 4 drivers left on the grid waiting. And it's a short run to turn 1. You literally need a good start. It's around about 100 metres or a couple of 100 metres or so from lights to turn 1. So weaving around now. And now starting to line himself up onto the grid. And putting himself into the 3rd place grid slot. Out of 26 laps of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. This time it's not headed by AI drivers. This time it is indeed the real life drivers. Oh no. Ben Finch, both William drivers have forgot their setups, which is, this is going to be very, very spicy for the rest of the race then, as we go to 5 red lights ahead of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Round 2 of RRL is underway, and it's a very poor start from the pole sitter. 2 Aston Martins get away very well. That's King Eric looking to the outside, gets ahead. His teammate's going to send it up the inside though. That's Gregor's on the inside. Actually, Eric on the inside. Gregor's manages to get himself ahead. The Alpine of LB looking on the inside of everyone. Up the inside of the Mercedes, gets tagged a little bit. The Aston Martin of King Eric trying to make up for a very lackluster start. Gets himself ahead as Jamie's now looking to push on for P5. Gets himself in front. The Alpine's going to fight it though. He's squeezing him to the inside on these medium tyres. Down the inside he goes into turn 3. So close to contact between the two, but manages to stay ahead, does the Ferrari of Jamie. Back at the back of the grid, Ben Finch, even without a setup, is doing very well to force him away up the grid. There's yellow flags. That's Delta rounding the Haas. So been a very bad day for the Haas guys. Kiernan already 1.8 seconds adrift of T. Gregor's on those soft tyres. He's going to be very quick in the twisty section, but going to be losing out a lot through the middle, through the straight part of the track, with a VSC now being brought out. A virtual safety car has been brought out in this race. So all drivers having to adhere to a 40% race speed delta, whereby they have to slow down and just take a chill pill for a moment. The race is essentially paused for a moment in time while they extract Delta's car. That's how it would work in real life, so that's how it's going to work in game, as Kiernan needs the safety car. Restart. It's important to stay within that Delta, because if you speed, you're going to get a drive through, and by that you have to drive through the pit lane without stopping, so you can't even get a cheeky little stop. And we go back under green flag racing. It looks like a very good restart from King Eric, who's already trying to get himself back onto the podium places. Corey defends very well though, parks it nicely in the middle of the track. King Eric having to tuck back in. Kiernan leads lap 1, then looking to the inside goes Eric, looks to go to the inside, doesn't quite manage to fully convert, as we've got maybe a couple of people into the pit lane. In fact, no one into the pit lane, so they've all kept it clean. Very well done. As we get a bit of a timing error, but it's still Eric on the back of Koru, looking maybe for turn 3, not actually looking too spicy and too interested to get himself into the top 3. I think he's working with him to try and catch his teammate. Koru, of course, sandwiched between the two Aston Martins, and a Mercedes sandwiched with Aston Martin bread. As they go through, end of sector 1 and into sector 2. Time sheets now starting to sort themselves out. Kiernan still leads though, even without a setup, is doing incredibly well. That's going to be the balanced 8-8 wings setup, as the Ferrari of Jamie taps the wall, doesn't pick up any damage, nearly into the wall at Castle. It's so close, so one line through Castle. You have to really pick your moments. King Eric still on the back of Corey, losing a bit of time. Of course, DRS is going to be enabled at the start of the next lap as we go on to lap 3. At the moment on lap 2, don't know the tower deceive you. Next lap will be when DRS is enabled, that drag reduction system to help the drivers propel themselves down the straight between turn 20 and turn 1, and the straight between turn 2 and 3, sorry, can't actually count. But Steve and Taylor and Daniel all swapping places. Steve managing to get himself up into P7, they're down to P8, and Daniel as well in P9, but Taylor's going to come back at him, looking to the inside of turn 20, gets it done. Steve giving him a good run. Kiernan finds more pace, goes even quicker. Taylor on the outside, Steve managing to out-drag him down the straight with less wing. But Taylor looking back up the inside, maybe in towards turn 1, sends it, given the space by JB, claims the corner, and because he's given a bit too much space, Daniel's going to say thank you very much and find his way through and up into PA. So Steve being done by 2 drivers there, unfortunately. So Taylor up to 7th and Daniel up to 8th, and even putting the pressure on with DRS. Pulls to the right hand side of the Alfa Romeo, looking to go for it around the outside of turn 3. Can he get it done? No, he can't. He's going to have to suck him behind. So Taylor with some mighty defending up at the front, as now those soft tyres are going to start to degrade quite quickly. Jamie has LB for company, a 5 for P5. In fact, Jamie has underfueled the car in hopes of a safety car and that he can save that fuel back up and try and build the fuel. With Corey 1.2 seconds off of Gregors. Eric on the back of Corey. They're now very close together. Eric's going to be looking to push Corey and try and get himself up the inside with DRS. Should be very good. He's got a lot of ERS in the battery. Is extremely close. We'll have that drag reduction system, of course. That's going to be an extra 15 kph. Toppled with that, an extra around about 30 or so maybe from the extra 160 brake horsepower. Corey though using that DRS, using that ERS. Gregors has to defend. Corey looking to the right hand side as they go into towards turn 1. Not quite going to go for it. Is actually going to go for it. Trundles his way around the outside, uses the brakes. There's a full course safety car with Daniel out on the main straight. Corey up into second. A very good move at a very, very good time. But Daniel out of the race. Let's have a look where it happened. I think it was a similar place to Lance Stroll in real life in 2021, which is a shame. So who's going to come into the pit lane? No one of the top lot are going to, because they're past the pit lane. Can't exactly reverse to go into the pit lane. But yeah, interesting who is actually going to come into the pit lane when it rolls around, of course. Maybe so those on the softs might go for it. I mean, it's a very early pit stop. Zabrate's in. Ben Finch and Steve all come in maybe to repair some wing damage. So yeah, they all have to line up behind the safety car. This will be a good opportunity for them to warm up their tyres. It's been an eventful start, certainly, to this race. As Kiernan is in, is Corey going to come in? No, Gregor's and all the medium runners staying out. Is Jamie going to come into the pit lane though? Yes, he is. Leaning himself to the left hand side, had to commit, comes in then with also LB following in and Taylor in. So a lot of the people on the softs coming in. LB the only medium runner to come in as Kiernan straps on those medium tyres and is going to come out in P4 right behind the lot on mediums. He's lost out quite a lot of time here. So Corey inherits the race lead then ahead of a double Aston Martin podium, 2-3 for the guys in green. As Kiernan settles in P4 with Luke rounding off the top 5, Jamie P6, LB P7, Taylor P8, Steve and Ben rounding off the grid. As they all come through Castle then, I think, hopefully, I mean, it's all down to Ben how quickly he can catch up. Should be the last lap of the safety car. He just needs to get himself through Castle before the safety car actually makes it to the end of Sector 2. Should maybe just about make it. Needs to be quick though. Quick, quick, quick is what Ben is saying. He wants to get himself underway. It's going to be very close, I think. It might just about be able to bring the safety car in. I think it's just out actually. Is safety car going to be in this lap? We usually find out at the end of Sector 2 and on to Sector 3, and I don't think it is in. Unfortunately not, no. So we get one more lap under the safety car with everyone here. So, yeah, one more lap under the safety car. Corey heads the way on these medium tyres. Kiernan without a setup, mind you. It's going to be mighty quick through the middle sector, but the first and final sector is going to be very, very poor for him. He's going to lack that straight line speed and really go backwards in this race. It's like running a Monaco setup at Monza or more comparatively, I could say more, say, running a Singapore setup at Silverstone, something like that, along those lines, something that equivalent, because you still do need downforce around back here, but not quite as much as Monaco and Monza. They're very contrasting circuits. One is literally straight line speed, one is literally corners, so you couldn't get more polar opposite than the two. One is also very good for overtaking, the other very much not. But both actually have a lot of incidents in towards turn 1. That is one thing they do share. They're also very historic circuits, unlike Baku, which only joined the Formula 1 circus back in 2016 for the European Grand Prix, and since then has held every Grand Prix since, apart from, of course, 2020 where we didn't have one. But we've had Daniel Ricciardo wins, we've had Sergio Perez podiums, we've had eventful races all the way through. Especially in 2021, that was a very eventful race, very crucial for the championship. 26 potential points for Max lost, and then a very good opportunity to extend the lead in the championship for Lewis Hamilton. gone as well, as he locked up and went straight on at turn 1 off the start of the sprint, and Sergio Perez claiming his second ever career win at Baku. So safety car is in this lap, finally is in on lap 6, going on to 7, so Corey becomes the effective safety car. He knows how this goes. Back everyone up and get them tyres warmed up, sort himself out, and make sure that when the safety car's in, he's able to punch it very, very quickly. Back everyone up. You can see really slowing down now. And there is, look at that, there's everyone getting ready to go. Kiernan also languishing in the background when his Corey punched it. He doesn't want to get slipstream down towards turn 1, but if he can catch him out, we can avoid that. Both Aston Martins eager to go. Greg already on the inside, he's punched it. We're back under green flag racing. A great restart from Luke though, already pulling to the left hand side of Kiernan. Both Aston Martins looking to go side by side. Nothing going towards turn 1 though, as Luke looks to defend. Jamie swoops around the outside of not one, but 2 cars nearly, as LB gets involved as well. He's now running side by side with Taylor Hammers, who also gets him around the outside, makes a bit of contact with LB into turn 2, but the Aston Martin of Gregors has been absolutely done by Kiernan, who's looking on the inside of Eric. This is all kicking off and allowing Corey to get away down towards turn 3. Is Kiernan going to go up the inside? No, he's not. He's going to maintain position, but around the outside goes Gregors, nearly tapping into the wall. Jamie goes up into P4, says thank you very much. Back down the inside goes the Aston Martin, not quite able to convert. He's going backwards and he's into the wall off the exit of turn 3. Gets off the traction a little bit too much. And there's, well, that is him into the wall and very much out of this race with no full course yellow at the moment. But that is one Aston Martin out. Kiernan looking to get past the other as they chase after Corey, who makes a little bit of a tap to the wall through Castle. They are closing though. Kiernan looking to get past and get himself back into the race lead on these fresh medium tyres. Should be a lot quicker. Not going for it into turn 13. A wise decision, I'm sure, for him. It's not really eventful towards the back of the grid. Only 9 people now left to finish this race. There is another safety car. In fact, there's another crash of Steve has resulted in the safety car coming out. So maybe this could trigger a couple more pit stops with only 8 people left in the race to go. Could this be a 100% DNF rate? I mean, it very much is looking likely. As Luke comes into the pit lane along with King Eric, who might have sustained a bit of damage or just wants a fresh set of tyres. So Corey then still leads the way off the second restart, off the first restart and onto the second safety car. Kiernan in P2 with Jamie inheriting a podium place after the crash of Gregors. Allowed him to do so, and LB 4th, Taylor 5th, Ben Finch in P6 with Eric 7th and Luke in P8. Yeah, so now around about a third of the way through the race, so still a long way to go. So with only 8 people left in this race, it's very much all points up for grabs. And anything can happen between now and the lights. Still 18 laps left of this race remaining. Should be a safety car in this lap, but I'm not sure if it is. If it is, Corey's going to start backing off, but I don't think it is. I don't think they're actually managed to make it round quick enough for us to go green flag racing already, and hopefully we can get ourselves underway very soon. So one more lap under the safety car once more. So hopefully we can get a little bit longer than a couple of laps without a safety car would be very much appreciated. Yeah, it's going to be important for Corey to lead the way. He's going to want to get a good restart because Keenan is going to be ruthless and want to get himself back into the lead and control the race on those fresher mediums. They're not exactly fresh anymore. And yeah, it's going to be an interesting end to the race. Of course, Jamie has looked very quick and very feisty with his overtakes, and maybe you even want to go for that move himself. Corey will be into the pit lane soon on those mediums. They can't last forever, but has been aided by a few laps under the safety car, of course. So might extend his stint, maybe even go straight for a one-stop, maybe onto softs if he can extend this stint far enough. So safety car should in fact be in this lap, so we'll get back onto green flag racing at the end of lap 9 and on to lap 10 with 17 laps of this Azerbaijan Grand Prix. So yeah, it's Corey that's going to lead the way. Kinnan's going to be very, very feisty though. Corey's already done the safety car restart once and managed to get away with it very well, managed to feed everyone else to the pack of wolves behind them. You can see really backing everyone up, allowing the safety car kid to get away, so he's got more versatile control of the field. He heads an 8-car train all aboard the Corey train as they head down the pit straight, 100 miles an hour. He's not weaving to warm up the tyres though, he's just waiting and preparing to get himself to punch it when as he's gone. And we're back under green flag racing. Keenan hasn't been able to respond very well to it. Jamie though has, in fact, as they come towards turn 1 for the first time off the restart. Around the outside goes Jamie. He's going to try it, he is going to get it, goes off the track a little bit, goes sideways, very sideways, but managed to keep his position. LB's looking down the inside of turn 2 though. The Alpine now getting himself onto the podium places, and the Ferrari's been bounced into the wall. Probably not the best idea to go around the outside of turn 2, but he's managed to carry on going with minimal damage. Taylor now looking to get up the inside as well. Can he be late enough under brakes? He is going to send it up the inside, but Jamie around the outside manages to hang on. So Taylor's going to have to settle in for P5. Keenan though at the front of the grid, putting that pressure on Koru early through the middle sector where he should be, in fact, be quicker with his balance setup coming through. Corey gets a little bit swamped, so Keenan trying to set up a cutback, and this is allowing LB to close the gap. Oh, and that's a big bit of contact. LB just runs straight into the back of Keenan, and Keenan's going to be lucky if he's got no rear wing damage, but that's going to be a big chunk of damage to LB, as everyone else is going to have to be slower to avoid him through the castle section. So this should allow Keenan and Corey to extend the gap at the front. Jamie will get himself back onto the podium place. Just a very clumsy mistake from LB there to run into the back of Keenan. But down in towards turn 15. Keenan with a double front lockup. Taylor Hammers getting past Ben Finch, or Ben Finch now getting past Taylor Hammers around the outside of turn 15. Gets it done into turn 16. And now back at the front. Jamie's going to look to get past LB. Can't quite find a way through though, because even though LB is going to be a lot less downforce, he just can't get a way through on the SS, but manages to on the exit and gets himself ahead. LB should be pulling back into the pit lane because of the damage on the front wing of that Ferrari. Oh, as they both head their way into the pit lane, and into the wall goes Jamie, and he's out of the session in the pit lane. Oh no, Jamie, after such a promising start, is out of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. And that's a shame. Ben Finch getting up the inside of King Eric for the podium place. Is down to just 7 runners now in this race, as King Eric has to drop down to 4th. Luke, LB and Taylor all into the pit lane, so it's Koru and Kiernan that head the way from Ben, Eric, LB, Taylor and Luke. Just a very awkward turn of events. Ooh, practically pushing him through as the Williams gets a good run off. Is going to be the left-hand side for turn 7. Not the most optimal way to get it done. And he knows that, so he's going to back off. Try and use that backwards momentum to try and get himself past as we approach halfway through this race. Lap 13 of 26 will be halfway through. We're on lap 11, or around about halfway through lap 11. As Corey gets very swamped though, so that's going to invite the Williams of Kieran to get his way through, and up into the race lead goes the Williams in a very opportunistic move to get past Corey, who gets swamped, but Corey's going to fight back at him, almost touches him into turn 15 down the hill. King Eric maybe coming back at Ben, so this is a good fight for both the race lead and for the final podium place, as Eric gets a little bit swamped on the exit. Corey though, going to be eager to get back past Kiernan, going to use his overtake and the slipstream to try and get his way back through. He's very close, and the slipstream very, very strong. He's going to be a lot more slippery in a straight line as well. Already in excess of maybe 8 miles an hour faster. Pulls to the right hand side and just out drags him down the straight. Brute grunt as DRS has enabled this lap. That drag reduction system going to help maybe Kiernan to get back in front of the race lead. But Kiernan down to 2nd. Corey managed to pull himself back into 1st place with Ben Finch and King Eric swapping positions once more for that final podium place. Lap 12 of 26. Kiernan's going to come back at him though. Corey defends to the left hand side. Kiernan pulling to the right, coming towards turn 3. Izzy ahead. Corey on the inside. Kiernan having to tuck back in. Goes for the switcheroo though. Pulls to the left hand side now of turn 4. Can he get it around the outside? Going to go for it. First gear and using the brakes to turn there. Almost into the wall. Almost putting each other in. Bit of contact between the two. But no damage done in towards turn 5 and 6. And Kiernan is ahead of Koru. Well defended from Koru. A good effort. But Kiernan managed to just about edge his way ahead to championship protagonists from last season, going wheel to wheel. This one, it's only round 2. Both able to take the win here if both are careful. And of course DRS is going to aid Koru on that advance back towards the race lead. But King Eric convincingly now in front of Ben Finch. So with only 7 runners left in this race, I think it's going to be a long 13 laps. And hopefully these guys give us an enthralling battle to watch. With Luke, a 3-second penalty for multiple warnings now through the final S's though. Can Corey set up a good enough move to go for the race lead? If he's not coming into the pit lane, that is, he's going to have the DRS, the drag reduction system, the rear wing flap opening. He's got a little bit of ERS to use. He's very slippery in a straight line. He's going to use that overtake and is now going to try it. Kiernan defends, but Koru just pulls to the right hand side, out drags him. Are they going to be side by side into turn 1? No, as the Mercedes gets himself ahead. But don't forget that Kiernan's going to have the DRS to come back at him towards turn 3. Williams going to look very feisty. They are looking very racy. These two giving us a good show. Kiernan in the slipstream, in the DRS. Not using his overtake though, making Corey defend. Can he go for a send to the inside? Corey defends very late. Kiernan pulls to the right hand side, tries it around the outside, just going to get squeezed out as Luke has actually DNF'd, and that's another safety car has been brought out on lap 13, exactly halfway through this race, and now down to only 6 runners in this Grand Prix. So, yeah, that is another safety car that Corey will lead. Who's going to come into the pit lane, though? I mean, Kiernan did, in fact, start on the soft, so if he's got a spare set of mediums to use, he can go to the end on them. I think they will very comfortably go to the end. Corey, however, is in a very sticky situation. He needs to swap tyre compound and will probably opt for the hard compound tyre to the end of the race, but we'll have to wait and see how that pans out and see how they get on. So are these two going to come into... Are they both going to come into the pit lane? Corey surely has to hop on this opportunity. He's coming in. Kiernan going to follow him in very close on the brakes into the pit lane. Is King Eric going to come in? No, he stays out. Ben, is he coming in to double stack with his teammate? Thinks about it. Is going to come in. LB only pitted a minute ago. Has retired from the session and is out. So we're down to just 5 runners now in this race for the final half. So hopefully isn't going to be a spread out one and we get some action. But LB opted in to retire. Taylor doesn't really know where to go. So could have asked for a better turnout maybe today. Which is yeah, it's a shame, but we'll see how we get on with 5, and hopefully we don't lose many more, if any, because a small grid is not what you want at all. So should be back on the green flag racing this lap because there's only 5 of us and all 5 of us are actually lined up behind the safety car, and if it is, there's just going to be a pointless lap under the safety car and not giving you guys any action because well, we've been lacking it for quite a while this race. So shouldn't be too long under the safety car, as obviously Eric inherited the race lead through not pitting, and if he can stretch those mediums to the end of the race, that's going to be an absolute hero drive from the Bahrain Grand Prix race winner. So safety car should be in this lap for a very much US Grand Prix 2005 start, with only 5 drivers on the grid. Going for this restart with Corey on the hards, Kiernan on the mediums, so Kiernan going to be convincingly quicker and hopefully won't pull away too quickly and actually give us a race and hopefully keep myself and you guys at home awake. Which unless of course you use the stream to actually go to sleep too, which I'm aware that some people might do. Apparently I have a very sleep-inducing voice, but who knows? I mean, this is perfect if you want to go to sleep. If this is how you get your sleep. RRL Baku Grand Prix Round 2 certainly will produce the melatonin and put you to sleep. Hopefully, though we've had our moments this race, we've had some clean driving and fights for the race lead between Corey and Kieran, absolutely doing their best to put on a show. When today has just not been going our way because Baku just isn't the best in terms of the actual game, because a lot of people will crash. There's going to be glitches with EA and Codemasters, so hopefully they can get those sorted. But what we can look forward to though is the safety car coming in this lap, and King Eric leading us away on those medium tyres, with Koru and Kiernan and Taylor and Ben breathing down his neck, putting that pressure on and trying to get themselves ahead. Lap 15 going on to 16. 11 laps of this race remaining then, as we go green very, very soon. The safety car in. King Eric managing to maintain the pace very well, getting that last bit of temperature into the tyres as he's weaving around, getting ready to go back under green flag racing. When is he going to punch it? He's going to punch it very late as to not get slipstream. We're back under green flag racing, and King Eric leads us away off the restart. We go green once again. That's Taylor Hammers looking to the inside, down the inside of turn 1, manages to maintain the gap to Ben behind, and the Williams of Kiernan now looking spicy to get through. That is the Mercedes of Taylor trying to stop the other Williams, trying to get through. There's contact between the two. Corey squeezing Kiernan all the way nearly to the wall. They're going to go side by side again down this back straight towards turn 3. Corey on the outside, Kiernan on the inside. Is Corey going to go around the outside? Going to try, but the Williams just claims the racing line, and on those fresh medium tyres is going to be absolutely rapid now to the end of this race. Hopefully it's now a Mercedes 3-4 headed by Corey Taylor, managing to stay ahead of Ben. They're still there, keeping each other honest. And we'll give each other a fight, I'm sure, all the way to the end. More finishes in the AI Grand Prix, 100%. 100%. Yeah. I mean, maybe we should just have AI hosted races. Everyone just press pause and that decides the championship. I mean, that would be quite funny, to be fair. We should definitely do that. But Ben putting the pressure on Taylor, who's closing the gap to Corey on his hard tyres, and as Corey just can't quite keep the pace. Taylor all over the place into the braking zone. Ben shouldn't really have expected to go for a move into turn 15 anyway, but yeah, Taylor looking the quicker of the two Mercedes at this stage in the race. And Corey definitely had a chance of the race lead, but that unfortunately timed safety car where he had to pit, otherwise it would be a missed opportunity. And he just couldn't get himself onto the same compound because Kiernan was able to go to a fresh set of mediums. Ben Finch, though, closing at a rate of knots, pulls to the right hand side, gets himself ahead and into P4. But Taylor can tuck back in, maybe even launch a counter attack back into turn 1. They both use their deployment, though. He's going to come back at it, though. VTEC like speed towards turn 1, dives it up, but the Williams keeps the speed around the outside and stays ahead. Going in towards turn 2, Kiernan putting that pressure on. King Eric looking to get himself back ahead into the race lead as they blitz their way down towards turn 3. Is he close enough on this occasion? No, not quite going to be able to go for it. Unfortunately, definitely George Russell was an absolute star in last season, wasn't he? Really gave us a show, fighting with Grosjean and getting himself into the points at Abu Dhabi. While the actual championship contenders couldn't give us much past the second stint. But Kiernan still there, still putting the pressure on, and hopefully doesn't just blitz past on the straight and we can actually have a nice bit of wheel-to-wheel action. Really? More finishes in T2? Jesus. Wow, okay. But Kiernan then on the back of King Eric, putting that pressure on. We've still got some good racing though, regardless of who's finished. Quality over quantity, but still would rather both. And would hope that Kiernan doesn't blitz past King Eric, and even if he is convincingly quicker, would be nice if he gives us a bit of a race and be's nice. But no DRS as of yet. Still only the second lap after the safety car restart will be enabled next lap though. Kiernan's got the brute force of that Mercedes engine against the Mercedes engine. Pulls to the right hand side, uses slipstream and uses ERS. He blitzed past and is ahead, and into the race lead goes Kiernan, who has to defend though because King Eric might be able to fight back at him though. Pulls to the left hand side, doesn't quite think to go for it into turn 1, but he could be close enough to launch attack. Into turn 3 as the Williams Ben Finch gets himself ahead of Corey and ahead also of Taylor Hammers, who's down to P5. So Ben Finch on an absolute charge now on these medium tyres, now 2.3 back on King Eric for P2. Could be looking pretty good. Yeah, Kiernan already flying away. This should be a pretty easy win for him, bar any mistakes. Ben Finch also closing on King Eric, and and already they're starting to space themselves out. Closing, DRS enabled, so Corey could find himself battling with Ben for that final podium place, but if you don't get yourself onto a podium in a 5-car grid, it's a lot easier to get a podium now, but no discredit to those who are doing well. As, Kiernan 1.2 seconds ahead. What we need now is another safety car, but I don't think we're going to get one, and I hope we don't get one, because then we'll only be down to 4 runners for the final 7 laps of this race, which, I'd rather us be spaced out. And the safety car doesn't even guarantee a good race. I mean, it evens everyone out, but yeah, other than that, it's a bit of a hit of the wall for one of the cars. As Ben Finch closes the gap to King Eric, 1.4 seconds between a lot of the field. King Eric trying valiantly to stay with Kiernan, but Kiernan is just too quick at this stage. LB has left the session. 1.2 seconds between Ben and Eric. He is closing, but how much can he close by for the rest of this lap? Used up a lot of VRS though. Through into Castle. And manages to get himself within 1 second, using those fresh mediums to his advantage. Now in towards turn 15, very tricky corner, but manages to get a good enough run, just about staying within 1 second. 9/10 is the gap. He just needs that virtual toe hook to get himself ahead. Of course, with a penalty as well, he needs to get ahead and then pull a gap for the final 7 laps of this race, which hopefully go by in a flash, because I think this is going to be a race to forget for a lot of people. Definitely not as good as our season opener back in Bahrain, and well, that's King Eric into the pit lane, so a pretty easy move for Ben. So the move we were hoping on, and the move we were very much riding on, has dwindled out, as Eric is into the pits for a fresh set of soft compound tyres. So let's go on board with him, and let's see if he can actually maybe go for the fastest lap. So King Eric on his outlap then wants to keep these soft tyres alive and bundle up some ERS. 9.5 seconds to the nearest car, so still definitely on. And also very quick, so it is a Williams 1-2 and a Mercedes 3-4 with a lone Aston Martin of Eric flying high in P5, and he's actually closing very quickly on Taylor Hammers, who has he got damage? He does. His front right end plate is gone, and you lose a lot of time with that front right end plate gone. Wasn't as prevalent on F1 2020, but you rely a lot more on the aero now in this year's game. So if you lose a little bit of your wing, it's very costly. Now towards lap 21 for these guys. Eric closing very quickly as Taylor pulls himself into the pit lane, so Eric up into 4th and now starting his hot lap. His bid for the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, hooks up turn 1 absolutely immaculately as he now heads towards turn 2. Brake at the start of that little dent in the wall. Second gear, clip a nice apex, no DRS as he's not within 1 second of any car, but he's using that ERS to help propel him down the straight as he hurdles towards turn 3. Look for the 100 brake in a complete straight line. Second gear, roll it through, carry that minimum speed through the corner. Third gear, fourth gear, fifth gear as you reach the braking zone for turn number 4, down to second. Third gear as you build up the traction towards turn 5. Look for the 75 metres and then down to second. Use that curb on the inside. Don't touch that inside curb. Purple to the first sector goes King Eric. This is looking like a pretty good lap, and you wouldn't even expect this to be in the race, but he's going for that extra 1 point for fastest lap through Castle. Hooks it up very nicely. Looks clean. Through the final part of the exit, gets it done nicely. Now towards turn 16. Brakes nicely. Runs it out to the exit of the track. And this has been a pretty tidy hot lap for King Eric, who is now across the line and goes fastest. So 39.5 is now the new fastest lap of the race, but expect Kiernan to have a good crack at that one. And through towards Castle for Kiernan. 4.7 seconds he leads by over Ben Finch. There's yeah, around about 4 and a bit laps left of this race remaining. About 22 of 26. And has managed to extend that gap, but King Eric is closing very quickly on Corey, who's doing a very Mercedes-esque strategy here. And he is closing very, very quickly onto Corey. Uh, 1.2 seconds in closing. This is probably the most interesting bit of the race. Taylor Hammers goes quicker though. 39.4 is now a direct fight for the fastest lap between the two. But King Eric all over the back of Corey as Taylor managed to snatch it. Jumps over that curb. And the slipstream of Corey is Eric. Not going to be able to do much with it at the moment, but he's going to have the DRS, the slipstream. Not a lot of DRS to use, but neither does Corey. Got enough though. Now in towards turn 15. Just needs a good run and then he should be able to get himself onto the podium. Not enough time really to catch the front two, but Eric done a pretty good strategy here to recover after having to pit quite after the safety car. Lap 24 of 26 now, 3 laps of this race remaining. And he's going to have the drag reduction. Rear wing flap open into helping down this straight. And should in fact blitz past. Corey tries to defend, tries to break the toe, finds a space on the inside, does Eric as they come in towards turn 1. Corey's going to try it around the outside, maybe. I can't actually quite see but has to tuck in behind because the game is not giving me any good camera angles whatsoever. So I might have to abort to the onboards, but Corey's going to have the DRS. He's not going to be able to combat this into turn 3. So Corey goes from a chance at the race lead, but unfortunate safety car timing means he has to go to the unfortunate Yeah, it has to go to drop back on the harder compound tyres, which is a shame. Through turn 7 and towards Castle, and he's already lost 2 seconds on the hard tyres, so Eric's absolutely flying. As we come on to the penultimate lap very soon, race leader Kiernan has absolutely dominated since the safety car restart, despite not having a setup on, although you would expect him to have a setup on. He definitely is driving as if he's got one on, but straight on speed definitely lacking. Now on to the penultimate lap, 2 laps of this race remaining, lap 25 of 26. And with only 5 finishes, it should be very short-lived. Ben Finch trying his best to maintain the gap to his teammate, actually managed to gain a little bit and then lose it again through turn 1. And of course with that 3-second penalty, and Eric's now, his pace has sort of plateaued really, as those softs are now starting to level off in terms of pace. Now 11.7 seconds, so Eric finding a little bit more pace, but that should be expected when he's on such an advantaged tyre. But after 4 laps at Baku, the softs do start to wear out. Taylor Hammer's going very quickly in comparison to his teammate. Could maybe launch an attack. I mean, that's going to be what, like 7 seconds a lap. That's going to be a tough ask. He's going to need to put in Jana Watmere type laps, and even with the superior tyre, it's not going to be the most ideal thing, unless Corey does make a massive mistake and allow Taylor to catch up, which is going to be very unlikely. Corey's going to try and bring it home for P4, so these top 5 runners going to get some good points for the championship. Kiernan going to take his first win of the season if he can bring it home for another 20 corners here at Baku. Revan's 6th out. Is he stuck in 6th? Or is he just going to sit for a bit of... Is he waiting for his teammate? Is he going for a last lap shootout, or is he just going for a lap 6 shootout? Oh, a 6th gear shootout. Kiernan's been very interesting with it. I think this is going to be funny. He's 5 seconds slow at that lap. He's lost a lot of time to his teammate. As we go on to the final lap, as he finally downshifts for the corner. Is he going into 7th? Or is he just limiting himself to 6th gear? This is going to be funny to see him down this back straight. Is he going to upshift? Oh no, he does. But I think he just wanted to get his teammate within 1 second and maybe spice things up for this final lap, even though he has got a penalty. Does Ben? Should be an interesting fight nonetheless. Up 26 to 26, and the two Williams very, very close together. Hopefully able to spice that up a little bit for us. Seven tenths between the two race leaders, then one of which with a penalty, but both Williams. Kiernan has absolutely dominated this race since the second safety car was brought in, and he's just haven't looked back, but managed to allow his teammate to catch up a little bit on this final lap just to make it a little bit more interesting. Ben Finch pushing for that race win on track, even though his penalty will set him back. Is going to close on Kiernan. Should be a photo finish across the line. This could be quite fun. DRS open for Ben then. Drag race to the line between the two teammates. I think Kiernan is just about to edge his way ahead, but he heads and wins the Azerbaijan Grand Prix ahead of his teammate Ben, who finishes just less than a tenth before him. King Eric, previous race winner in Bahrain, keeps that podium streak up and comes across the line to finish in P3. Koru with a big chunk of understeer there. He's got some damage to the front wing. He does. He's practically got no front wing, and that's the mistake I was talking about. But Taylor just a little bit too late to fully capitalise on it. Might even have a bit of damage himself. But Koru, the fourth finisher of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix for round number 2. Taylor now heading to the end of the straight into the finish line, becomes the 5th and final finisher of the Azerbaijan Grand Prix here for round number 2. Ben Finch taking driver of the day. So very, very good result for both William drivers, who celebrate on the podium. But after 26 laps of racing, it is Kiernan that takes the win ahead of his teammate Ben Finch in P2, with Eric rounding off the podium. Koru in P4, with Taylor rounding off the finishes. And the fastest lap along with it, LB, Luke, Jamie, Steve, Gregor, Zabre, Daniel and Delta, all not able to finish this race. And well, heads up guys, while today wasn't the best race, we had our fair share of issues with glitches and just unfortunate turns of events, safety cars, what have you, really diminishing the fun out of today's race. But nonetheless, I hope it has been enjoyable, and here's to next week in Montreal being a little bit better. This has been RRL. I've been Zach Sweeney, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.